On this episode of This is Game Boy, we talk about the Tiny 10. So yeah, on this episode of This is Game Boy, we're going to be talking about the Tiny 10 number 9, which was revealed, 2 weeks ago now? 2.5 weeks ago?
When this comes out, it has been 2 weeks, yeah, because we thought this
Yeah.
was gonna come out on the same day, but
Yeah.
we mixed up our
And
schedule.
my
there.
light episode came out instead.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's right. Suckers. Um, so yeah, but before we dive into the Tiny 10 games, what have you been up to, Mo?
Well, I've been playing a lot. 2019 has been a really good year for me so far. Weirdly enough, I have not been playing that much Game Boy, but it's getting back on track. Like at the start, I was a little bit more focused on newer games. I'm still doing that basically, but I've also been knocking off a lot of games for my portable pleasure streams. So I'll quickly go over them, and I hope I didn't mention these last time. I don't think so, but maybe I did. First, there was Desert Strike Return to the Gulf. I guess everybody knows the Strike series. It's been around for, well, it hasn't existed in a long time, but
That's a tough game on Game Boy.
yeah, it was really fun actually. I love the Strike games. Have fun memories of playing them on Genesis mostly. I even have like a controller that is shaped like a helicopter. What is it, joystick? I don't know, but it's really cool. So you can use that to shoot. That's pretty nice. So I was excited to play the Game Boy one. I actually picked that game myself because there was nobody around to pick a next game, and I was looking and I was like, yeah, this might be fun. Yeah, it's a very short. Well, compared to the other games, it only has 3 missions actually. So you once you know
Oh,
what
it
to
is short.
do, yeah, you can get through them, but the missions still take like half an hour each. Plus, I game overed once, so it took me around 2 hours to get through. But it's a fun game. It works just as you would think it work. The only thing that is missing is the strafing, so you can't like dodge bullets as easily as you would be able to on a console version, but it doesn't really matter. Like the rest is the same. You can look at your map where all the upgrades are, well, the refills are, and where your missions are, and so you can see what you have to do. So it's a pretty fun game. Looking forward to play Jungle Strike as well. And I went to an expo and I found Soviet Strike for PlayStation 1. I had
Oh,
no
that's a
idea
good
that it
game. I
existed.
have that.
Yeah, so I checked that out. That's also really cool. It has like those cutscenes you see in Red Alert games, like the full motion videos, actually actors playing it. So I really like that style. And apparently there's a fourth game called Nuclear Strike. So those are the four Strike games. So I'm gonna look out for that other one as well. Because yeah, I just enjoy those games. They're nothing really special, but they're always fun to play. I did some sports games. I was like, yeah, maybe I should do some sports games again because I checked my list and I have 1/4 of all the games I still have to play are sports games. And I was like, yeah, I have to do a block again because otherwise they're gonna be in that list until the end of time, and then I have to do nothing but sports games. Actually, somebody picked a game for me, which was Madden 95.
Oh, what a good game.
Look, I can't really say much about those games because the biggest problem for me is I do not understand American football at all. I understand what you have to do. You have to get the ball, of course, to the touchdown line. But you always have to pick up your tactic. Which tactic are you gonna take to either play defense or offense? But in my mind, it does not make sense because you can never guess what the computer is gonna do anyway. So it just feels like
The
stupid
touchdown
thing to
line?
choose. Like it doesn't make sense to me. So I play those games. I play one match. Um, if I make a goal or whatever it's called in that sport, I'm happy. Well, there's field goals and there's touchdowns. I know. But Yeah, I played one match and I was like, yeah, I'm moving on. I don't care. Then I picked on my own. I picked NFL Quarterback Club '96
Oh no! Oh no!
because NFL Quarterback Club is actually a bunch of mini games, and that game takes literally 6 minutes to get through. So I was like,
Yep.
oh yeah, I'm gonna knock this one off my list very quickly as well. And then I started the game, and it's just a regular football game. I was like, no, don't do this to me. So again, I played one match. I managed to get one touchdown, and that's it. So I lost, what is it, 6 points to 78 or
Okay,
whatever.
let's say is that the one I watched where like they were beating the Patriots were beating you like 67 to like 12 or something like
Probably.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can imagine. But yeah, I made one touchdown, so I guess I completed it, whatever. You could play an entire season on that game, but yeah, I don't care,
Watch
so
Watching you play American football games is probably the most watching any European try and play an American football game is pretty entertaining because like American football is just so different than any other sport. Like it's kind of like sort of like rugby, but it's also kind of like soccer, but it's also kind of sort of not like anything at all. And like watching you all try and make sense of that sport is very comical.
Yeah, I understand the basics, but it's just like all these the blitzes and things like that, all those strategies you have to choose. I don't know what I'm doing. Like I can see they always show you what the play is and you
Yep.
choose it and then you're like, yeah, and now what? Like so yeah, I'm
If
trying to
it's
get through those football games as fast as possible. I have five
it's a
left, I think.
strategy. It's a
Yeah, it is
strategy.
strategy, but I
Like if
think
it's like
yeah,
a first down, they're
it's
probably
not
gonna
for me.
run the ball, so you want to blitz or stuff the middle. If it's like a third and long or like a third down, they're probably gonna pass, so you gotta do some pass protection.
That doesn't
It's
make any sense to
strategy.
me at all. But yeah, those are not my games. I think for most Europeans, those games will never be fun. So yeah, I'm just playing them so people can at least see the game. If they want to pick it up themselves, go ahead. I cannot say if they are good football games or bad football games. I have no idea. Like the
They're
only other one I played is Blitz probably, and that's like a silly football game.
I
So
yeah, I could
yeah.
fill in on that for Game Boy. Like Madden 95 is honestly one of the better football games. It's actually better than Madden 96 and Madden 97 somehow. Tecmo Bowl on the Game Boy, honestly, like isn't all that great. It's a really, really, really dummy down version on the NES.
Yeah,
Um,
I played that one
NF-
as well.
NFL Quarterback Club is pretty bad. NFL Football is pretty bad. Bo Jackson is pretty bad. Like honestly, like if you're going to play a football game, like Madden 95 is probably the best option you have on Game Boy.
Yeah, see, that's from a person who knows the sport. So I'm not. I'm just not the person to talk about those games. So I rather just play one match of them so people can actually see. Yo, this is how the game works, and then you can check it out yourself. Like I have no pleasure in playing those because I just don't understand.
Yeah.
Anyways, so I was playing that sports block, so I picked Pocket Golf, which is a Japanese only game, which came out in 1998. So it's one of the
Oh wow, it's a
last
late
Game
one.
Boy games that came out. I was expecting a mini golf game because of the title, Pocket Golf. It was not. It was just a normal golf game. So it's pretty much the same than normal Nintendo golf, but you're playing against a computer and not just on your own. There's
Oh,
a
that's cool.
1v1 18 holes track and there's a tournament 18 holes track. So I played 1v1. It was alright, nothing special. For a game that came out so late, I felt like it could have done a lot more than just be basically a carbon copy of Nintendo Golf. So there's nothing more to say about that. Like all the golf games, they're pretty fun, but they're nothing special. I think those mini put games are a lot more fun than the actual golf games. So
Agreed.
I was still looking at my own list, but Lex was in chat, so she picked a game from the sports list called Battle Dodgeball. Again, Japanese only game. And that was something I was not expecting. It's actually, what is it called? Like Tech You Fight. I always forget Competi Heroes, like the mini versions of the Gundam and the what's it called, Kamen Rider and things like that. It's actually a dodgeball game with those characters. It's always 2-on-2 matches. You have 10 teams you can pick from, I believe. Like 5 good guys and 5 bad guys. The way it works is you have 2 people on the field. You have like the guy in front, the guy in the back, and then there's 3 people around the sides of the opponent's team. And it's you just have to destroy each other, like literally. You have to get their HP down, and then you move on to the next section. It also has RPG elements with it. You start with your basic stats, but each time you play a match, whether you lose or win, you get experience, which you can put into stuff like your power, your defense, how fast you move, and stuff like that. In order to win the game, you have to beat the 5 opponent teams 10 times in a row, and each round they get better and better stats. I think I made it up until the 7th one so far, and now they're just literally one-hit killing me, so it's getting really, really tough. But it's a really fun game, but it's gonna take, I'm gonna say 4 hours to beat it, so that's pretty long. But it has a save function, which is really cool.
Well, that's good, yeah.
But yeah, that's the one I'm stuck at right now. So my sports block is far from being over. So I've only done 4 games so far. But I'm trying to knock off at least 10 before I play a quote-unquote normal Game Boy game again. There was one other one. Racing kind of falls under the same category as sports for me. Lex picked another one of the Compati Hero series, actually, called Kamen Rider SD Hashiri Mighty Riders, which is a racing game with all versions of Kamen Rider. I don't know, there has been like 10 so far, maybe. You pick a team, you either pick a team of 3 of them, and then you have to do, I'm not sure what it's called, but pass the torch, I guess it's called. You finish your track, you touch the other guy, and that guy does another track. You have 3 teams you can pick from, so there's 9 different stages, and if you get through them, you win. The other mode is a tournament mode, or a Grand Prix mode, I guess it's called, which has 8 stages. You can pick any of the 10 characters in the game, and you just have to finish first every time, but you have unlimited continues, so you can just keep on playing it and playing it until you win. It wasn't that hard. I think I finished it in half an hour or something.
Well, that's not bad.
But yeah, those are those Japanese-only games, because I also play the Japanese games that I sometimes run across. So that's
I want to play
fun.
Speed Racer on Game Boy. I think that's Japanese only.
Probably.
Yeah.
I did not even know that existed, but sure. Alright, moving on. Besides sports games, I played Jolly Boy, which was a surprise for me, at least. The moment you start that game, you're like, what trash have I put into my Game Boy? It's a very strange game. It has way too many levels. There's 6 worlds, with each have 6 stages and the boss fight, and in each stage you have to find a puzzle piece, because you need all 6 to enter the boss fight, and you also need to find a key in one of the stages. It doesn't say which one, but it's mostly pretty easy to find, and then you can actually open up a new world. But yeah, the game really grew on me after a few levels. It has weird mechanics. You transform into a whole bunch of different things, like you become an umbrella, you become a table that bounces towards the wall, you become a helicopter. It's interesting, but it's not really a good game at all. Like, don't get fooled, it's not good, but it was playable, and I actually had fun with it. The weirdest thing about it was when I came to the end. When you defeat a boss, you get some kind of, I don't know, item. It's kind of random what they are, and you give them to a guy at an elevator, and he says to you, "I'll meet you soon." You get in the elevator, bam, credits, and I was like, wait, is my game broken or what is going on? Is there supposed to be more? But apparently not. Only in the Super Nintendo version you actually go into a different world. And on Game Boy it just stops right there. I guess they ran out of space maybe because it is a really long game. So they skipped out on that. There's also a Jelly Boy 2 on Super Nintendo, but that is actually not Jelly Boy, that is Smart Ball, which was made by the same people. They just called it Jelly Boy 2 in Europe, I think, and it's kind of confusing, but it's actually Smart Ball 2. There was gonna be a Jelly Boy 2, and as far as I've read, they actually finished that game, but they just never released it. So
Well, the code is out there.
Probably, yeah. But that's on Super Nintendo, so that's definitely not on Game Boy. Then you
console.
yeah. Then well, sure. Right. Okay. Then you picked a game for me called Night Quest. It's a fun RPG slash kind of a strategy RPG. It's very easy to understand. It's very easy to know what you have to do and where to go. I think twice I got a little bit confused about where to go, but there isn't that many places to go, so you get around very quickly. There is not that much grinding either, but you will have to grind because otherwise you're gonna get destroyed in later places. But yeah, that was a very fun game, but sadly it's just a little bit repetitive. But yeah, it's a game everybody can get into for sure. So
it's baby's first open world game, basically.
Yeah, like I would usually say if you want the most easy to understand RPG of all time, just play Pokemon. But this might be a good step into maybe strategy RPGs. Not as much as like Fire Emblem or Final Fantasy Tactics where you have to move your characters. It still uses just a normal battle system, but you have to choose which attack you use on which enemy, and so that's where the strategy. Yeah, but yeah, it's a fun game at least. Okay, after that, PLD picked a game for me called Alfred Chicken, and I'm sure everybody knows Alfred Chicken because it has been on literally everything. The last version came out on PlayStation 1, I believe. A lot of people said to me, "Oh, but this is an easy game. This is gonna be no problem at all." Those people have probably played either the NES version or the Game Boy Color version. And let me tell you what the difference is. The NES version offers you 4 stages. That's it. It's 4 stages. Is it an easy game? It's kinda difficult, but you can easily get through it, especially because it only has 4 stages. The Game Boy Color version offers you a password for each stage you beat. That's pretty cool. You can just pick up where you left off. Game over, no problem. I can just replay that level infinite times. Here comes the Game Boy version, however. There's 2 versions, actually. There's the European and US release, and there's a Japanese release. EU and US came out first. This is the original version of the game. It will break you. Like, it's unbelievably hard. It has 11 stages, and after the 3rd, the 7th, and the 11th, there's a boss fight. First 2 boss fights are nothing. They're really easy. You just stay in the upper left or upper right corner and you shoot and you win. The final boss, however, is the biggest RNG fest you can imagine. He just goes wherever he wants at a speed that is 4 times your speed, and you can barely dodge him if he actually goes the way you are standing. So it's really hard. Plus, he has 2 forms. So that's just crazy. Besides that, the original version has 0 continues, and has no passwords. So once you game over, you have to restart the entire game again. So the first time I was playing that, I actually made it to the 7th stage or the 6th stage. I died, so I had to restart, but I knew what to do in those stages now. I knew how to get the extra lives, no problem. Played it again. Was in halfway through the 10th stage. Game just hard locked on me. It was just over. I couldn't do anything anymore, so I had to restart again. Luckily, Lex came into chat and she said, hey, there is a Japanese version of this game, which actually has a Super Game Boy border and colors and things like that. So I booted that game up, I checked that out. There was also a warp, but that's in the original as well, where you go from the first stage to the 4th stage. I looked into the speedrun, you can actually better go to the 3rd stage, and there's a warp to the 8th stage, so you basically skip most of the game. Problem is you will have not enough lives if you're not familiar with the game, so that will not help you at all. So I decided, you know what, I'm just gonna restart again on this Japanese version because it's a little bit more colorful, so that's pretty cool. And I tested out a theory, because there was a stage select in that. If you game over in the Japanese version, you actually have continues. I'm not sure how they work. They started with 3. I managed to make it to the very final stage and final boss. Then I game over. I had 3 continues. I game over 2 times again, so you would think you would have 2 continues and then 1, but suddenly I had 4. So not exactly sure how the continue system works, but at least it offers you continues, and that is a big sigh of relief if you're playing this game for the first time, just because of that last boss. But yeah, anybody who's picking this up, maybe go play the Japanese version if you want to, or play the Game Boy Color version, because not only does that have passwords, so you can play it as much as you want if you game over. There's no boss fights in it either. So it's just a watered down version of the actual game. It was a thing. I got a little mad at the end there because of RNG boss.
Do you get mad at a video game?
Sometimes, yeah. It had been going really well this year until Alfred Chicken came up. But yeah, that was the last Game Boy game I played at least. What else have I been playing? I did a race of Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers a few weeks back. Because I know how to do that game fast, I do not know the actual speedrun strats for it, but I've been playing that game since I was 4 years old, so I knew how to play it fast, so I just was like, you know what, I'll join. There's this group doing a speedruns weekly, and that was their game, and I was like, you know what, I'll join up. This is actually fun for me. Me speedrunning, that's that's something you barely see. So yeah. Besides that, I've been playing Fate and Fate Chapter 2. People who don't know that, Fate is a free game you can download. Unless you want a deluxe version, then it's $1 or more. Fate 2 just came out, which is the sequel, of course. That one is $1 or more. But it's an Atari-styled horror game, and it's really, really cool, and I love it, and I can't wait for more. So, if you want a cool horror game, maybe check that out. Especially the first one, because it's free, and if you don't like it, then, well, nothing lost, I guess. And yeah, then there's a new game I just started, which is Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice, which is the new, like people are calling it, the new Dark Souls game. Let me tell you, it uses mechanics from the Dark Souls games for sure. It's hard as nails as a Dark Souls game, but it's plays very differently. It's more like a mix between Tenchu and the fighting style of Dark Souls and Bloodborne. It's really interesting, but it's of course quite tough. But yeah, I just barely started the game, and I'm having a lot of fun with it. It's nice flying around the map with a grappling hook. So it's always fun to do. I don't know why, and I kind of like he's a shinobi. Like I also like Onimusha a lot, where you're a samurai, and I always enjoy those Japanese fighting games, I guess. So that's pretty cool. And just before we started the podcast, I did a Tiny 10 remix run, 10 Game Boy games. And that took me a little bit longer than expected. It took me almost 3 hours. But I'm totally ready to race next week now.
Look at you doing the Tiny 10 remix too.
Yeah, I always do those because this is my chance to actually play the Tiny 10 games instead of just commentating them. So, yeah.
I did all the artwork for it, so I was like, yeah, I'm not going to run in it. I don't want to do half those games.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe you can do commentary with enemy or something. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
No.
We'll see. I asked him if he needed it. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see. He did it on his own last time, I think, so.
Yeah. It's tough to do 10 games. 4 runners, 10 games by yourself.
Yeah. That's... Well, he's used to commentating on his own, so yeah. But yeah, that's pretty much what I've been doing when it comes to gaming since the last time we recorded. What else am I doing? We talked about this in the past, I think, on the podcast as well, but I'm like redoing the GBrunners website, integrating it with a lot of like your and Lex's project, which you're gonna talk about, so I'll leave that to you, but I'm just working on the template graphic wise, so we have something nice, and you can kind of see which way it's going if you visit the Tiny 10.9 page. That's like kind of a preview of it, I guess.
Yep.
So yeah, what have you been playing?
Nothing.
Okay, moving on.
I don't even stream anymore. Are you kidding me? My 11 subs are just in the dark right now. No, I've as far as gaming is going, I've got into Grand Theft Auto RP, so role playing,
Right.
and that's been an adventure in itself. I wanted to try something new. I needed to get away from Game Boy. I needed to get away from I do so much retro stuff behind the scenes. Like I need to get away from it sometimes. So yeah, I have a character named Chet Morrison. He's a big pharma CEO from Alabama. It's a good time. Only drives American trucks in GTA. It's hilarious.
Okay.
But outside of that, I really haven't played much for games. I tore apart the N64 last night and cleaned up everything, and I got it working again, consistently working again. So maybe I'll slap in Doom 64 and show Crazy Awesome how to play the game. For those that don't know, Crazy Awesome's doing an N64 challenge, and he's on his second game, which I chose for him, and I chose Doom. And he is just having a grand old time with that game. I think he's on like day 6 of Doom right now or something. He's like 8 hours into the game. And I'm just like, oh, you're not even halfway through the game yet.
Yeah, I'm glad he's playing it on Dolphin, though, because I would not be able to watch otherwise because I get car sick.
No, he's playing Project 64.
Oh, Project 64.
Yeah. Dolphin is GameCube and DS,
Yeah. But, like, if I would have to watch it in the original graphics of the N64, I would just have to throw up after 5 minutes. So.
I popped in WCW Mayhem last night. Through the FrameMeister, it doesn't look too bad. From console to FrameMeister. The upscale definitely helps a lot. But, yeah, if I didn't have the upscale and I was playing that, I'd be like, man, the Game Boy had better graphics than this. Yeah. But, yeah, as far as gaming goes, GTA RP, basically just to get out of my own head. Like I said, I've been doing this a lot of behind-the-scenes retro stuff. I've been data archiving and cataloging everything Game Boy, basically. So I own around 202 Game Boy games. So I've been going through those DMG codes, documenting them into Legs' spreadsheet, so we have them cataloged. Going through and scanning all of my Game Boy manuals, which I'm upwards around like 75 Game Boy manuals now. Trying to get those scanned in, and each scan takes around like 30 minutes to do because of the DPI I choose. Scanning my Game Boy carts, so we have a high res of the actual label. Scanning the Game Boy boxes, so we actually have boxes if we ever need to recreate them or just have them in general. Like I scanned the Froggy game box and showed them like, hey, we can do this now. Um, Outside of just Game Boy in general, I've been cataloging my other collections. So my NES collection, my Super Nintendo collection, and my N64 collection. I haven't even ventured into Virtual Boy, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, or any of the Sega Sony consoles yet. Or Microsoft. I'm just not ready for that yet. Well, I mean, it's like 200 NES games, 100 and some SNES, 100 and some N64, and like I know I have at least that in Microsoft and Sony games as well. So it's like I'm just not not looking forward to that at all.
Yeah.
And then I have universal game cases for my Super Nintendo and N64 games. So printing off labels, cutting them out, figuring out cost effectiveness with that. Like, is it cheaper to do it this way or this way? And yeah, it's just a lot of work. I've built a couple of repro boxes to see how they fit and see how to construct them and figure out the best and efficient way to doing that. And yeah, that's pretty much all I have been doing is data archiving, cataloging, and staring at spreadsheets for like 3 to 4 hours a night.
Yeah. It's fun times. Yeah.
It's good stuff. And I keep pestering Man Over Mars. I'm like, hey, like, need that Game Boy Adventure logo that I asked about at the end of January. Like, hey, need that logo. And then once he gets me that, then I have to video edit 210 videos for Game Boy Adventure and post them to YouTube. So I can't wait to do that either. And then obviously getting ready for marathons coming up. Like I have Shaq Fu. I'm running Shaq Fu at Speedy Fist. Fist of the North Star. I still don't know how I'm going to commentate that. Fist of the North Star and Titus the Fox at Retrothon. I got to commentate KDL stuff at Pixel 4 Piece, which we'll talk about at the end of the podcast about all the stuff going on. But it's like I just have a lot going on. I did all the artwork for the Tiny 10 Remix 2, which is going to happen when this episode is released.
Yeah.
Yeah, just been exceptionally busy. Like, too busy to the point where I haven't had time to really play any video games at all.
Yeah, I think for me there's also gonna be like a little break from streaming just to get everything ready, because otherwise that website is not gonna get done. I just need to actually take my time for it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, like I redesigned the homepage so far, like just thinking about, look, what do I want to do with it? How is everything gonna be shown? That already took like 2 hours. Like it seems so simple when you actually see the image of it, but the thought process that goes with it just takes a lot of time. And
the coding, yeah.
And that's not even my thing. So I'm just literally doing the design.
Because I coded the Tiny 10 page. Like you gave me the design. I took it and put it into HTML and CSS.
Yeah.
And like that took like every break I had at work for 2 weeks. Because I don't have time to do it at home. At least not right now. So that's like every like 15-minute break I had at work, I took and put time into the Tiny 10 page. Like I did some lunches over it and just to make sure we had it up in time for reveal and everything else. So.
Yeah, it's like people see us playing games all the time. And, oh, hey, they have a lot of time. They're just playing video games, but it's crazy what we do in the background actually, and like we're not getting paid for anything. So it's all just a hobby, but
your passion project.
Yeah, it's a lot of hours that go into that, and like I said, all this archiving and cataloging Game Boy data and manuals and getting scans for the cover art and even the game cartridges and stuff like that. It will all be used on the new GBrunners website. Like GBrunners was just made specifically to let people know, hey, this is how you need to speedrun Game Boy games. But it's becoming so much more. It's gonna be like, hopefully the best way to find any information about any Game Boy game that is out there, because we're already putting in the hours of playing the games and reviewing them basically, so, and collecting them as well, so why not put some effort into, and it's a lot of effort, it's not some effort actually, but it's a lot of work to do, and yeah, we're doing a lot. Like, we're even a little bit behind on these podcast recordings. Like, Lex always only has like 5 days to make heads out of it. But yeah, it's like we're doing a lot.
We used to give Legs like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, almost a month. You know, to like edit a video. Now it's we have a video that gets a podcast that gets released next week. We should probably record this weekend. You know, it's like, oh crap, or you're right. But like Legs and I discussed database patterns and relationships the other day, where, you know, people are just like, who cares about that? It's like, well, if it doesn't work right, then it's gonna be inefficient. It's gonna suck, you know. So it's like, there's just so much behind the scenes stuff that's happening that no one sees. Everyone just sees, oh, you just scanned a picture, or hey, you're just playing a video game. But it's like, yeah, you don't understand like what you don't understand the bigger picture of what this is going to entail, and like all the communication in the back that we've had.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, resting is not really a thing anymore. It's like, get off from work and start doing stuff just to get it done, so I can have like maybe 2 hours before I go to bed that I can just do nothing, and then I just lie awake for 2 hours thinking about, oh, maybe I should do this or that. It's one of those cycles. I'm actually pretty exhausted today, probably because of that, and I had a break from work actually, so it's it's a lot of things.
Sundays are usually I usually make one day of a week that's just for me, and it's usually Sunday.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, I'm not going to do anything. Like, I'll stream if I want to, but I am not going to do anything related to this database, to this Game Boy thing, nothing.
Yeah, exactly. But, that's usually my day off as well. Then I'm just in my lazy chair watching movies or series.
Yeah, I just watch Twitch all day and eat pizza. Or that, it's amazing. But I hope to get back to Game Boy Adventure soon. I have a list of games that I need to play. Like, we hit the 1,000 view mark on King James Bible on YouTube. So like, and Legs picked Spiritual Warfare as our next Bible game, which is really unfortunate, because that game is long. So I had that in the queue. I have a lot of games in my request queue from 2016, but the reason I haven't played them is because there's no information about them online at all, which is another big reason why the three of us are pushing this so hard. Is that, like, Monster Truck Wars, for example, you can't find anything online about it. You can barely find box art of that game. So like, I own a cart of it. I need to scan it for a high res image, you know, but I need to figure out how to actually play the game. Like, I don't own the manual. There's nothing online that tells you how to play the game, because when you look up Monster Truck Wars, it just tells you about Gravedigger and whatever else from the Monster Truck things that happen in America. So it's just like, it's really hard to find this information. So that's why my request queue. Like, if you're listening, if you request a game I haven't played yet, that's the reason why. I'm trying to gather that information up so I can play it. But yeah, no, I do plan to get back to Game Boy Adventure, hopefully in April, probably late April. Hoping to go back into my normal streaming schedule maybe next week, but it's going to be like Grand Theft Auto streams or something just really, really casual and away from my retro day-to-day right now.
Yeah, a good example of games without any, like, information about them was Swamp Thing for Game Boy.
Oof, yeah.
It took me like, I would say 2 weeks to find out the information on how to actually play that game. I went deep on the internet, very deep, to find any information about it.
Dark web.
Eventually I found somebody describing, look, these are actually the controls of of that game, and then I was able to actually play it, and 2 days later somebody has speedrun it. I was like, what?
Yeah, they did
What
it
is
like 20
happening?
minutes or something.
Yeah, I was like, is this because of my video that... Because my video, if you watch my video of Portable Pleasure for that, I actually take like 10 minutes to explain, look, this is how you have to play this game. These are the controls, because there's nothing about this game anywhere. There's no game facts, there's no scans for the manual or anything. So, yeah, that's one of those things that, yeah, I do behind the scenes just to be able to even play a game. And yeah, I can see there's a lot of those out there as well. Mostly with
oh, go ahead, sorry.
mostly with facts written by the amazing Keyblade 999. Yeah.
There's another one too that writes amazing game facts. That's why I can't remember his name right now.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want a scan of the Swamp Thing manual, someone needs to donate $50 to me, and I'll buy this manual on eBay. Because the Swamp Thing manual is $50.
Yeah. Yeah, see, it's yeah, nobody has it. I even reached out to Jeremy Parrish for it, asking, look, do you have the freaking manual?
It? Yeah.
Because yeah, but yeah, he didn't respond because I'm just some random guy on the internet, of course. But,
he responds to me.
Oh, wow. See, I always get...
Well, him and I have actually had multiple conversations on Twitter.
Wow. Now I'm very sad.
Jeremy and I go way back. Not true at all, but yeah, that's another problem too. Is like I like collecting manuals for Game Boy stuff. Like I don't care about manuals for NES and Super Nintendo and 64. I can give two craps about those systems, but I like collecting manuals for the Game Boy because there's just not that much information out there. But some of those manuals, man, like an Avenging Spirit manual is like $100. Mm-hmm. It's like I'm not spending $100 for an Avenging Spirit manual. Are you kidding me?
Oh, that's crazy.
Like $50 for a Swamp Thing manual? No, give me it. If someone donated me $50 and said, "Hey, use this money to buy the Swamp Thing manual," I'd do it. But I'm not gonna be like, "Oh, there's a Swamp Thing manual. There's no scan of it on the internet. I'm better to spend $50 for a piece of for a few pieces of paper." Mm-hmm. Like I'm not gonna do that. So that's the other thing too. Like a lot of it, like all this stuff costs money as well. Yeah. Like as much as I would love to have a manual for all of my games and all the Game Boy games, it's just not feasible sometimes. Like a Spiritual Warfare manual is like $30. I'm like, I don't give two craps about Wisdom Tree enough to pay $30 for a manual,
Yeah. Money is always a problem when doing these things, so
yeah. Especially with the way the market is right now. So
yeah, it's not good for Game Boy.
Yeah, it's getting worse actually.
Mm-hmm.
And worse as in everything is like doubling in price.
Yeah,
so
it's getting a little crazy. Like I quit basically collecting Game Boy games for now. Sometimes when I see a cheap one, I'll get it, but I'm not actually looking for them anymore. Like I'll let it rest for a few years when the market will eventually crash because everything is going crazy right now. So that there has to be a point where a lot of people will be very angry when suddenly their $50 game drops to $5 again.
Thank God for that day.
That's your own fault. Stop spending so much money on games that are not worth it.
Toxic Crusaders, $500. Like, get real.
Yeah, indeed.
But yeah, like I'm in the same boat. Like I don't really collect Game Boy games all that often anymore. I collect the manuals. Like I'm finding lots of Game Boy manuals that are fairly cheap. So I just been grabbing them. Like I have a bunch of manuals for Game Boy games that I don't even own. Honestly, I've been collecting Nintendo 64 games quite a bit. Like, I found that library to be exceptionally cheap.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I bought, I think, 7 complete in box Japanese exclusive N64 games for like $20, $30.
Yeah, that's
So
that's
I mean,
alright,
like that
indeed.
library is exceptionally cheap right now. So I've been doing that. That's where most of my collecting phase is going right now. Game Boy manuals and N64.
Yeah. Yeah, so as you can hear, we've been doing a lot that is not immediately visible at this point, but yeah. Another update, maybe, from our episode about Gargoyle's Quest 2. Hey, I pronounced it
Oh
correctly.
yeah, you did it. No gurgle this time.
But yeah, a little update on that. We talked about it then, that we could not figure out if there was an 8 heart container in that game, even though the room was there for it. Good news, everybody. We actually found it. Well, I kind of...
Hero found it.
Hero found it by accident and did not realize it, and I saw it, and I was like, wait a minute there. Was that an 8 heart container? And lo and behold,
I
it was.
clipped it.
Yeah, and I made a video about it because I also talked to Whitehat about it because he speedruns the Famicom version, and in the final stage of the game, there is actually a potion, just like in the first stage, that expands your hearts. So if that doesn't matter how many you have, you just get one more. And they use that pickup to get a 5th heart. So they can take 3 hits from the final boss instead of just 2. So that thing, actually, if you got all the upgrades from the rest of the game, that one potion gives you the 8 heart upgrade. So there it was. And yeah, it's not mentioned in any walkthrough. It's not even shown on the maps that people made for this game. So I don't know why it got lost, because it was used in the speed run, but nobody like realized that was like a thing a lot of people, including us, were looking for, to see, that's weird that there are only 7. So yeah, we'll maybe post a link to the video about that I made of it, so you can check it out yourself. But yeah, there's absolutely 8 hearts in that game.
See, they're a well-known game. Still finding stuff out about it.
Yeah, well, I was really happy that I saw that on, that I just caught it, because it was a glimpse, because he immediately got hit and went down to 7 hearts.
Right away. I looked down and I saw his heart thing, and I'm like, wow. I'm like, it looks like he has a lot of hearts. Like, it looks like more than normal, but I didn't think about it at all. Like, it just didn't cross my mind. And then he got hit, and I'm like, that's the normal looking. I'm like, wait a minute. And then Mo said, like, did he just have 8 hearts? And I'm like, I don't know. And I heard they clipped it and counted them. And I'm like, yeah, there was 8 hearts right there. I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah, that took a few months for us to figure out. But yeah, we
lost it.
That was a fun moment. Yeah,
that was a good time.
Yeah. All right, well, that kind of wraps up this part of the podcast. I guess we're just gonna rename this, besides Tiny 10.9, to something else as well, like Behind the Scenes or something like that. But because this was a pretty long part for sure. But yeah, we didn't have to talk about the history of Tiny 10 because we did that last time. So I guess this is like a nice thing. Like, we're gonna talk about the Tiny 10.9 list after the break. But we also talked about what actually is going on in the background and things for good things to come in the near future, hopefully.
Give them an update, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll be right back after this break.
And welcome back, everybody. So yeah, Tiny 10 number 9.
Yep, the 9th time, the 5th year. It's been a long time that I've been doing this, and since you joined as well. setting this up. First, the most important thing, of course, for people who are listening, Tiny 10.9 will take place on May 25th, 1 p.m. like always. EDT.
Eastern.
Yeah. ET. Phone home. That's when it's happening. But yeah, by then we in Europe will also have changed the clock again. Maybe for the last time, because they're voting to get rid of it. So, yeah.
I wish we would just get rid of it.
Yeah,
like,
that would make it even worse. But yeah.
Germans.
So yeah, that's when it's gonna take place. We did a reveal stream. We'll link that as well in the description, so you can always watch a little bit about those games. We talked briefly on all the games, on how to speedrun them, but we're gonna go over the list here as well for people who don't want to watch the reveal or something.
Just listen to our podcast, pop it on or drive to work, whatever.
So, yeah.
But, game number 1 is translated to Little Indian in the City. My French is pretty awful, so it was like Un Indien dans la ville. Is that it?
Un Indien dans la ville.
Okay.
Yeah.
As you can see, I am American and I don't know how to speak French.
Yeah, I mandatory have to learn French because I'm from Belgium. So I do not like the language, but I do know how to speak it when I have to read something, but that's about it. I can't really figure it out on my own. I have to think way too much about that language. Like whenever somebody, because I live very close to the border, really, for the French part of Belgium. So when somebody stops me and asks for directions in French, I'm like, yeah, dude, whatever. And I know the words, but I just have to think way too.
No, I'm like that with English, even. Yeah. Like, if someone comes up to me in English, like, hey, where's this? I don't understand what you're asking, sorry.
Yeah, Dutch is my mother tongue, but I mostly use English throughout the day, basically. Like, it's 80% English and 20% Dutch, and sometimes it's even hard for me to come up with a Dutch word, and I'm like, it's this in English, but I have no idea how to say it in Dutch anymore. So, yeah, it's just a habit, really.
Yeah, Little Indian in the City. The game was based off of a movie which came out in France, if I remember it, because this is a European-only game.
Yeah, it's a TF1, which is a very popular French channel, TV channel, and they also made movies, and this is one of them. You might have seen this movie's remake, because America loves to remake things that were European only, but it came out as Jungle to Jungle, which is a very poor movie with Tim Allen. But yeah, it's basically about some dudes getting some kid from a jungle, and then they take him into the big city of, Paris in the original, but New York probably in Jungle to Jungle, and then they go back to the jungle. So it's something you've seen 100 times. A lot of people will probably think, oh, this sounds like George of the Jungle. Yeah, basically. It's
very similar.
Yeah, it's all the same. Yeah.
The game actually flows with the movie, though. Like, the whole plot of the movie, go into the jungle, get the kid, go to a big city, go back to the jungle. The game actually does follow that fairly accurately. Like, you start off in the jungle, but the thing with the game is that, like, you're playing as the kid and you're blow darting snakes and ladybugs and whatever else is in front of you. And you're getting to, like, your sister or whatever it is at the end of the first stage. I don't know. I've never watched the movie nor the American remake of it, because it's just not my type of movie. It's not True Lies. So,
yeah, this is a family picture.
But when you go into, like, the second world, quote unquote, you're like in a construction zone, like you're like on a scaffolding of a building, and you're jumping over the pits and everything else to get to an adult male at that point. So I'm assuming it's one of the guys, that
Mm-hmm.
gets you from the jungle or whatever it is. Throughout the game, I believe there's only 4 or 5 worlds. I can't remember off the top of my head. And each world has 2 sub levels associated with it. It's a relatively short game. I think blind it took me 25 minutes, 30 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And it's Super Game Boy enhanced as well. Hence why it's number 1, or
Yeah.
at the very top of the list minimum.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's 5 stages, I believe.
Okay.
Jungle, construction site, mines, which I'm not sure where it fits because I think the some of the plot of the movie is that there's bad guys trying to steal diamonds from where the kid is from. So I'm guessing that mine is where they're trying to get those diamonds from. But yeah, so it's weird that it's in between, but whatever. The 4th level is on the Seine, which is the river that runs through France and part of Belgium. So then you're there, and then you go back to the jungle. And I think the last stage is also on a boat. So I'm gonna
the very very final stage of the game is you're on a boat. It's an auto scroller, and you're on a boat, and you need to shoot the fish that jump out of the water, and you need to shoot the guys that are on the shore throwing rocks at you or something like that.
Yeah, not sure if that is in France again or it's supposed to be on the Amazon or something like that. But yeah,
I'm not sure.
At least how the game works.
But I honestly thought the auto scrollers were the better levels of the game. Like I found the auto scrollers to be a lot more fun than the actual platforming sections of the game.
Yeah, the platforming is a little bit slow and wonky. It's not the best game in the world, but it's also not a horrible game. But it's made by Titus, which kind of makes sense if you play Titus the Fox. It just feels slowish for some reason. They were not the best publisher of games. They were not bad either, but
no.
If you played one of their games, you've played all of them, basically.
Yeah. Some of the nice things with the Titus publisher is that I like the sprite work that they offer a lot. Honestly, they make sure the person you're controlling or the sprite that you're controlling, you're controlling that sprite. It doesn't blend in with anything at all. Or I really 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 like the sprite work that Titus offers to Game Boy games in general. I think they do a very good job at that.
Yeah, and I posted my playthrough of it, and actually the composer of the game reached out to me on YouTube, which was really surprising.
Awesome.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool. I think he's either French or German, probably French because it's from France.
Probably,
but I saw that he had his website on. He posted his website, and I saw that he was going to a lot of convention in Germany and such. So
that's cool. Yeah, that's awesome. Actually, you should find a copy of it. It's a pretty cheap game. You should find a copy of it. Go to one of his conventions and have him sign it.
Yeah.
Actually, buy 2 copies. One to keep, and then one to sell on eBay for a bunch of money.
Yeah.
But
that's pretty cool. That's something I would never expect. But he was like, "Hey, I made the music for this game. Hope you like it."
Awesome.
I was like, "Oh, cool." Yeah.
But yeah, no. Next up is a game that if you follow the podcast and follow Mo and I, heck, even Legs, you've heard of. It's Moelle Mania. Oh, by the way, the goal for the last game is to beat the entire game because it's short. Back to Moelle Mania now, though. But yeah, game number 2 is Moelle Mania. Again, a Super Game Boy enhanced game, so therefore it's at the top of the list. Number 2. If you want a lot of information about Moelle Mania, go check out. I forgot which episode it was. But we have a whole episode about Moelle Mania.
Yeah, episode 8 was
episode 8. Okay,
I
knew it was somewhat recent.
Yeah.
Goal for this is to beat World 2. You can't use the out of bounds glitch. In speedrunning, you can kind of clip out of bounds in Moelle Mania and just skip to the final world, or just go straight to the bosses for each world. It's not allowed for this. You actually have to know how to maneuver through the puzzles and the mazes of the first 2 worlds, which honestly is not that hard. It should take at most 12 minutes, 15 minutes.
Something like that, yeah. It's really not that long. And the main reason, of course, why we're not allowing out of bounds.
The biggest thing is just fighting the bosses.
Yeah, that's one of the hardest parts of it, yeah.
The kangaroo boss is easy. You can kind of like determine where it's going to jump to land on the thumbtack. The sun boss can be a bit annoying, but once you figure out how the momentum of the swinging of the sun works, it's pretty simple. It's a lot of timing for that fight in particular, and making sure that you actually hit it square on and not to a side to make it swing and spin around like mad.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, for the most part, it's just playing the game, understanding where to go, and that's it. It's a pretty easy, straightforward game to list, in my opinion.
Yeah, especially the goal. But yeah, the reason why we have like a no out of bounds thing with a goal is because even though I'm more and more stepping away from it, I always try to put games in that the blind people can also enjoy at least. And yeah, if everybody is using the out of bounds to just skip to the final stage, which makes the game 15 minutes long maybe, or even less, and the other people who are playing it blind have to play the entire game.
15 hours.
Yeah, so that doesn't work, of course. So like... Yeah, so it's just a goal game, like with most puzzle games, and then this is fine. Like, at least you can enjoy the game without breaking it, so...
Yep, exactly. You can enjoy all the cuteness the game actually has to offer.
Yeah.
Oh, I suppose we've talked about leaderboards here real quick, too. So back to... Oh, never mind. Speedrun.com is down because it's experiencing a lot of pressure. Surprise, surprise! Oh, my God. Well, I can tell you what...
They really have a bad... server or something.
Oh, it's so awful. You should see me trying to. I've literally given up approving games because of it.
Mm-hmm.
So going back to Little Indian, some girl has a world record in that game at 12 minutes and 42 seconds.
Mm-hmm. And that's without some of the new findings for level skip. Well, not level skips, but skipping parts of the level. So it's more gonna be like a 10-minute. 30 seconds record by this point, but nobody has done it yet.
Yep. Mole Mania, any percent glitchless, just any percent in general. We'll just go with that. So that's the main category.
Mm-hmm.
This includes the out of bounds stuff. Runix 2 has a record at... Was it 9 minutes and 16 seconds?
Yeah.
So that's the out of balance stuff. That's glitching right from World 1 to World 8 or whatever it is. All levels, there we go. 80% glitchless is 2 hours basically by Runix 2. So you can definitely see the time difference there. All right. So that's Mole Mania. Pretty much in a nutshell. Like I say, if you guys want to know more about Moelle Mania, go check out episode 8 of the podcast where Mo and I do a much deeper dive into the game itself.
Mm-hmm.
Next game. I like this next game. It's not good, but I like it. We visit our friends over in Titus again with Titus the Fox.
Yeah, their mascot character.
And a fun fact about Titus the Fox is that I knew the game existed, but I never knew it existed for Game Boy. Like I remember seeing it for DOS and Atari, but I don't. But I never knew it was out for Game Boy. I thought it was just one of those like weird, obscure, like Amiga, Atari, MS DOS games. But lo and behold, it did come out for the Game Boy and Game Boy Color. So,
yeah, I think the actual full title of this game is Titus the Fox Back to Marrakesh, or something like that. But it doesn't show on the actual cover.
It does actually. It does. It's very, very, very small. It's right underneath Titus the Fox. It is there, but it is exceptionally small. Yeah.
Yeah, it's something with Marrakesh, at least.
But I like this game because I like the uniqueness of this game probably more than anything in itself. The goal for this game is to beat the game on the hardest difficulty, which that may sound scary, but literally all of the hardest difficulty does is that makes your sprite and the enemy sprites move about 2 or 3 times faster than on normal. Everything still does the same amount of damage throughout the game itself.
Mm-hmm.
Still the same amount of levels, still the same length, just faster moving. But I find the game intriguing because there's no boss fights. And like the enemies for the most part you just avoid. Like it's just finding like the secret paths and managing through a puzzle, basically. It's like a platformer puzzle. Like I find the game to be I find the game to be a very intriguing, unique Game Boy game. Like it's not good, but it's not awful.
Yeah, unlike Jelly Boy, which is actually awful, but still interesting.
Right. Well, I mean, so there are 6 worlds in Titus the Fox, and each world has 2 sub-stages associated with it. World 1 is literally just hold right, and you're pretty much good to go. World 2 and World 2 Level 2, like going through that stage casually is a nightmare, but like all you have to do in the speed run is fall off the first ledge at the start of the run or at the start of the stage, hug the left wall to activate a hidden passage that takes you to the very end of the stage. Like, there's a lot of little things like that throughout the game, which it makes the game fun, interesting, but also a little bit irritating because the triggers for those hidden passages or for those hidden ladders or whatever else in the later stages are very, very finicky. You need to be very spot on to on the whatever it is to trigger those things. But record for this right now is by Finn the Fox at 6 minutes and 42 seconds, which was about a month ago. And I know I learned this game right when they made this leaderboard, and it took me I think 45 minutes to learn the game. And I have a 7-minute run, so I'm 20 seconds behind the record holder for learning the game in 40 minutes. There are a couple glitches that I don't do at all, so I mean it's a very, very easy game to learn. According to Infinite Mystery, there is limited continues, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I never hit that, I guess. But maybe there is. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. Do have a quick question though, because I'm looking at the cover art, which is kind of cool, I guess. I mean, it's very cartoony. I like it. Why are there 2 foxes on the cover?
Oh, because at the end of the game, you save your girlfriend. Oh,
yeah, but that is not your girlfriend, though. That is just another fox.
In co-op, I tested this.
Oh, there's a co-op there.
There is a co-op option to this game. There is a 2-player option to this game. The 2-player to this game is heckin' cool. Heckin' cool. I tested it out. So there's an emulator that allows you to emulate a virtual game link for Game Boy. So I opened both of them up and linked them together and opened up Titus the Fox onto there. The 2-player of this game is you're both on the screen at the same time. You both are foxes. You both are on the screen at the same time. You can see each other as well move. Like you can see where each player goes. And you can interact with the objects. Like say, for example, player 1 throws a bouncy ball over there to trigger a switch. Player 2 can bounce on that bouncy ball, activate the switch, then player 1 can go through and activate something else. Like you kind of like play together with it. So an example for this would be World 5 Level 1, where you need 2 bouncy balls to get to the finish. With 1 player, you need to backtrack. You need to activate the ladder, grab a ball, throw it up there, backtrack, grab another ball, and throw it up there. If you have 2 players with co-op, each player would carry a ball, and then you would just have one person activate the ladder, go up, throw it, have the second player jump on the ball, drop the second ball. Like it makes that level faster. It's a very interesting co-op, and I would love to speedrun it with somebody. It's a super, super cool 2-player game.
Yeah, that's really nice. Sadly, that's such a cool co-op is wasted on like a lesser game. But yeah, that's very interesting. Yeah, I had no idea.
Yeah, I didn't either. I noticed they had a 2-player option, and Finn the Fox came into my chat, and he's like, I don't know what the 2-player does at all. And I'm like, well, let's find out. And then that's how we found out. I'm like, this is super cool. So SGDQ 2019, if you're going to be there, let's run Titus the Fox. But yeah, Titus the Fox literally is this, I would say, play the game, maybe watch a run of it. It's about it. It's a very easy game. Yeah. Blind, I think it took 45 minutes to an hour.
Yeah, same for me. Yeah.
And next we got a big boy game next.
Yeah. This is the one that a lot of people are scared for, but I think they're putting their scaredness into the wrong game for this Tiny 10 list. But yeah, this is Mega Man 3, which is the hardest Mega Man on Game Boy for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
It really is. The good news about it is that for Tiny 10, you only have to play until the midsection of the game, where you defeat the mid-boss, the Big Susie. So the first 4 stages you have to do are the easiest of the game. There's only one very tight jump in all of these. The other tight jumps are in the second portion of the game, so you don't have to do those. Yeah, it's Mega Man. Like, there's nothing more you can say. It's not like Mega Man 2 where everything doesn't work correctly. This is actually made by people who knew what they were doing. So yeah, it follows the same pattern as the other Mega Man games on Game Boy. 4 bosses from, in this case, Mega Man 3, and 4 bosses from Mega Man 4, but you only do the ones from Mega Man 3, who are Snake Man, Spark Man, Gemini Man, and Shadow Man, my favorite robot master of all time. There is a tutorial for this game, made by Tremaine way back when. He was actually routing these games, so that will definitely help a lot, but also be warned that the level of play in that tutorial is a lot different than when you're just like starting to play a Mega Man game and speedrunning it. So you can play it a little bit more safe for sure. Like, you don't have to do all these very tight maneuvering tricks and going through the levels with mostly no life at all. So that's pretty easy to get through if you just take your time a little bit more and don't go for that world record pace.
Yeah, I think my PB in this game is about an hour. And it's not because of the first 4 bosses, it's because of Dustman.
Yeah, Dustman and Diveman are the worst stages on Game Boy for any Mega Man game, because there's jumps in there that are pixel perfect, basically.
Insane. Like, there's a room in Dustman where it's just all spikes, and you have to either take a damage boost and then jump off a rush coil or be insane, basically. Yeah, it's a hard game, but luckily, like Mo was saying, first half of the game it's pretty tolerable. Like, you start off with Shadow, then you go to Spark, then you go to Gemini, then you go to Snake.
Yeah, I would say it's even easier than the entire game of Dr. Wily's Revenge. So yeah. Because that one is also very tough, but not on this level, but because of different reasons, of course. But the first half of this game is this very basic Mega Man stuff, so there's not that much to worry about.
Yeah. The biggest tip I can give is just knowing what the weaknesses are for the Robot Masters. That's why I say, like, you start off with Shadow, then you go to Spark, then you go to Gemini, and then you go to Snake Man.
Yeah.
It'll make your fights a lot easier. If you watch the review, I buster only Snake Man, so that's a good time.
Yeah. But go ahead.
But the world record for this, like, I remember Tremaine had the record for this game for a long time, 3 years, 4 years, and Prissy and Eddie went to town on this game. Prissy has a 26-32 in this game now.
Yeah.
Like, that's Mind you, the old record was 27:43.
Yeah.
Endy has a 27:07. So like Prissy and Endy, very well known speedrunners, went to work on some of these Game Boy Mega Man games, and Mega Man 3 was one of them. And it's awesome to see. It was very cool to watch Prissy run this because it's a Mega Man game, but it's a fairly different Mega Man game because in Mega Man 3 Game Boy you could charge your Buster,
Yeah.
which you can't do in the NES version at all. You can slide, but you can't charge your Buster. You don't think you can charge your Buster in the NES until what, Mega Man 4 or 5.
Yeah, 4.
So,
yeah. But because it's like
it's like
all the Game Boy games, it's
yeah.
the hybrid between 3 and 4, so they already introduced the charged shot into this one.
Right. So it was very fun to watch Prissy and Endy like run this game because they went from Mega Man 2 Game Boy to Mega Man 3 Game Boy, and that is a big hurdle to jump.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's pretty much all we can say about this game for like speedrunning wise and for Tiny 10 wise. I do have another remark though, because again, I'm looking at the cover here, and like a lot of Mega Man games, this cover is a big lie. I have no idea what's going on. First of all, there's like this lizard besides Mega Man, which is not an enemy in the game at all. I guess it's referencing Snake Man, but this is definitely not a snake. This is a lizard.
It's a dragon.
Yeah, it's I don't know what that is, but first of all, that doesn't exist in the game. Second, looking at Mega Man himself, he has some kind of cell phone attached to his quote-unquote belt. No idea what that is. No idea what that is. Also, he has some weird Google marker on his back. No idea what that is. Not a single Mega Man has ever had something like that on his back, so not sure what that is. In the distance, you can see the Wily castle, and I think it actually is the sprite they use in the game. The only difference is, and this is really cool about Mega Man 3 on Game Boy, it's the only time ever that Dr. Wily has an underwater base. But this is clearly not underwater. This is like on some barren desert land, so that's also a lie. And then the most, and everybody will know this, Mega Man is shooting at the castle, which is cool and all. He is shooting 4 lemons.
Let's see, he has more lemons out.
4 lemons does not exist. He can only shoot 3 lemons at a time. So, yeah. Like, all these covers for Mega Man are always so weird that I don't know why.
Then you have Dive Man over there, just chilling. Or Drill Man, or whoever it is.
I think it's Drill Man, but it could also be Spark Man.
It could, yeah. It's like a hybrid Drill, Spark, and Dive back there, just hanging out. And, like, they're as tall, they're just huge. They're like a giant.
Yeah, compared in the perspective this is showing, he's almost as big as Wily's castle in the background. I don't know what this is.
What a crazy! I never looked at the cover this close before. What a crazy cover!
Yeah, it's a cool cover, though. I mean, it
is cool.
But yeah, it raises some questions. I don't think your head is supposed to go that way either, but I'll let it slide because he's a robot.
He's smiling and blushing at the same time while being angry-eyed. Weird. So weird.
I always love these breakdowns on covers for games.
It's nothing like the covers we have in America for Mega Man, where they had like this realistic comic human-looking guy that looks like Mega Man. Oh, it's awful. They're terrifying.
Yeah, my favorite Mega Man cover is the European cover of Mega Man 3 on NES, where he's in the middle with Rush next to him, and then you have Wily's face in the background with the heads of all the Robot Master. That's my favorite Mega Man cover. It looks so good.
It's my favorite Mega Man game.
That as well, yeah. It's still my favorite game of all time to this day.
And the halfway point, game number 5. Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
Yeah. Now, this is a game people should be a little bit more scared about, especially if you're not playing it before the race.
that it's a game to be scared of in the sense that you can get lost in it. I
Yeah,
wouldn't consider this a hard game by any means in terms
definitely
of like
not. No.
enemy difficulty, but this is a game that you can get lost in very easily. Um, it's one of those games where it's nothing like the NES version. For those of you listening, like, oh my god, Proof Frame Roger Rabbit's awful game. You're writing that stupid code. No, it's nothing like the NES
Hmm.
version at all. Well, it's a top down move around, find a building type deal, but the gameplay is better. You play as Roger Rabbit, and it's one of those games where people tell you where to go.
Hmm.
It unravels the story of from the movie itself, where Roger goes into the director's office. Director gets shot. Roger was the last one there, so he's the one that people are calling the murderer. He goes and find Eddie, and Eddie's the detective trying to solve the case, etc., etc. If you haven't watched Roger Rabbit, you should probably go watch Roger Rabbit. Um, I find this game to be very, very fun. I haven't played it for Game Boy Advance yet. The first time I played it was for the reveal, and
Hmm.
I found it to be I found it to be very fun, but I found it to be very confusing as a blind player.
Yeah, for sure.
So this is one of the games I would definitely be scared of, and it is scared in the sense of like I'm going to waste a lot of time in the race on this game
Yeah, it
because I
only has
don't know where
5
to go.
stages, which are relatively short if you know where to go. Because this is an open world game, basically. You can go wherever you want. Some areas are blocked off because you don't have the necessary item to progress. But basically, it's an open world game. It's not that big of a world. It's like only an 8 by 5 screens or something. So it's not really big, but if you don't know exactly where to go, it's kind of confusing because most of it looks the same. Besides the areas you actually need to go to, they are always a little bit different. But yeah, I think the first time I played this game, it took me like 2 hours, but the second time it only took me half an hour because I knew where I was going. So
Huh.
yeah,
But yeah, goal for this game is beat the game. Um, so it should be relatively short. I think the record for this is 16 minutes 18 seconds by Swordman Kirby.
yeah,
That should be a name most people probably recognize there.
yeah, definitely. But yeah, this is a very fun game. I don't know if the NES game was made by Capcom, but this one is, and it shows. It's one of those typical Disney Capcom games, so you just know it's good. Like, there's no way around it. It might not be the genre that everybody wants to play because it I don't know what you can call it. It's like a top-down adventure game basically. So it's a little weird. It's not like your typical platformer that they used to make, but it's just really interesting, and they portrayed the movie quite well, and it's a funny little game, and yeah, it's just really interesting.
Huh. But yeah, those are the first 5 games of the Tiny Ten there. We're going to take a short break here. When we come back, we're going to hit up the rest of the 5 games of the Tiny Ten, so stay tuned for that. All right. Well, welcome back, everybody. Hope you enjoyed that song. I don't even know which one Lakes picked. Maybe the Joker one from Batman.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, next game we got. We've actually referenced this game in quite a few episodes of this podcast,
Yeah,
but
exactly.
we got Magical Taruruto Kun, or magical to
or to lulu because it's Japanese and
Oh,
R
yeah.
and L sounds are weird. So I think the official name is probably magical Talulutu-kun. So, but yeah, it's written Taruruto-kun. So wait, is Naruto actually Naruto?
I don't
Wait,
watch it.
okay,
I don't
I'm
watch
so
anime.
confused. Whatever. I know for One Piece, like you have Zoro in it, but it's actually Zolo. Whatever.
This game is beat the game. I everyone has complained about this game. That's
I knew they
the
would,
Tiny
but,
10. I love this game.
Me too. Yeah,
It's
I loved it so much
fun.
the first time I played it. I bought a copy immediately. So that's something I rarely do. But yeah, this is. I always put one Japanese only game in there at least, and this is the one this time. So
This game is so much fun. I wish I knew what the menu said. That's the only problem with it. My Google Translate did not do a good job. But this game is cool. This is a platformer game, /run platformer. It's one hit kills unless you get this little fairy thing that assists you. And this fairy thing can like transform you into like this muscle boy, which is what you want. But it's completely it's completely random what it turns you into on the like attack mode. But apparently there's like other modes that this fairy can do as well for you to help you out. It's a fun game, but it can be pretty tough. The hitbox, my biggest qualm with this game is the hitboxes. The hitboxes are pretty bad. And the controls are a little sluggish, but it's still a very fun game.
yeah, the first time you play this, it's gonna be really rough because the one hit kills. It's definitely a problem. But every time you pick up 20 whatever they are, you get your little fairy friend with you, which is basically your second hit you can take. But there's also potions, I think. If you grab that one, you also get your fairy friend. And once you have her, you can pause the game, and then you have like 4 options you can choose from. The first one does absolutely nothing, apparently. The second one is help me defense-wise. The third one is help me attack-wise, and the fourth one is a random mini-game you can have. You don't really use any of these throughout the actual levels. It's more like going to the right as fast as you can. If you find a frog, it's a 1-up. There's a lot of them if you know where to find them, so that's always nice to have. Depending on how far you get into the game, there are continues. Like if you game over on the first stage, you will not get a continue, but if you advance a little further, you will get continues, but they're definitely not unlimited. During the boss fights, there's pretty much 2 regular boss fights in this game. If you select a third option, the attack option, and by some sheer luck you get transformed into the giant guy, you can actually take down bosses very quickly. The biggest example is the final boss. Normally he takes 64 hits to die,
Jesus.
which is a lot. Like you still have to dodge all of his attacks, and don't forget you only have 1 hit if you lost your fairy. So the pattern is easy to understand, but it's just a very long fight if you're normal, and it will require definitely some tenacity to get through it because it's so long. But if you transform into the big dude, it takes 12 hits and you're done. So that's something you really want. The fun part about this game is that it's not only a platformer, it also suddenly transforms into a shmup. Like, why not, I guess? Suddenly you're in a helicopter, you're taking down Godzilla, and then you fly through the city and you take down a pterodactyl, I think, at the end or something like that. So it's pretty... Yeah, it's super Japanesey. I think it's based on a manga or an anime. But it's a really cool game, and it's not the best Game Boy game. Definitely not. It's kind of wonky. But there is a really good game on Genesis, I think, also called Magical. That one is I can really recommend everybody to play that game because it's really cool.
Yeah, so record for Taruru is 15 minutes 49 seconds by Wolfmeric.
Yeah, and that's without the big dude transformation.
Yeah, who I don't know how new they are to speedrunning, but I feel like they're fairly new to the Game Boy scene. Because him and I have worked on a few games together as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like Mr. Chin's Gourmet Paradise, Max, and a few others. And then you're on the leaderboard, Mr. 17 minutes 53 seconds.
Yeah, I like a lot of these games that get put into Tiny 10. I find them, I do a basic routing of them, I make a leaderboard of them just so that they're out there so people can join them. And this was also one of them that I initially did. So,
Cool cover art though. Japanese cover art is the best cover art for Game Boy. Don't at me on anything.
Sometimes it is, yeah.
Well, it's so bizarre. Like the little fairy that follows you is like kind of front, and she has like these eggs on the side of her. Like, what's going on here?
Eggs? Yeah, I think those were just her feet, but sure.
Oh, they are her feet. I thought they were eggs. They are her feet. Japanese box art is the best box art for Game Boy. Don't at me. It's colorful though. It's pretty.
Yeah, it's a very fun drawn anime, manga, whatever you want to call it. Like the style is pretty cute, actually.
Bandai did a good job. Good job, Bandai. Yeah. All right, game numero 7.
Ultra Nemesis.
Konami Nemesis, according to this box art.
Oh yeah.
Nemesis, basically Gradius, a dummy, an easier version of Gradius, in my opinion.
Yeah, still not sure. Like I haven't looked it up why they named it Nemesis, but yeah, I mean sometimes it's. I think in Japan, wait. I think in America it's called Gradius, but everywhere else it's called Nemesis, so whatever.
Oh, really? Well, there's already a Gradius for Game Boy. Like, it's called Gradius Interstellar Assault.
Yeah, but that's Gradius too, so...
But it's just called... I don't know. On next episode of This is Game Boy... Thanks, speedrun.com. Appreciate you being down again. Nemesis it's Gradius. If you've played Gradius for the NES, you have played Nemesis for the Game Boy, and vice versa. The only exception is I don't know if those level warps exist in the Game Boy version. I know in the NES version with Gradius, if your high score ends with a 6 or whatever it is, you can warp to like stage 3 or whatever. And if you like destroy like 12 of those Easter Island Moa heads. There we go. Moa heads. You can warp to like stage 7 or something. I don't know if that exists in the Game Boy version.
Not sure myself either. No, they might.
They might. Yeah, they might. Just uncertain. But the goal for this is beat the game. This is a very easy game, especially with the rules. Level 1 difficulty, which is the easiest. 99 lives are allowed. Like, if you game over with 99 lives, we need to have a little talky poo. But it's an easy game. You get your shields and get your missiles, and it's pretty much you can get a couple speed upgrades. You're pretty much set to go, even with a base gun. It has its laggy moments, like normal Gradius, but it's a typical shmup. Don't touch the ceiling, don't touch the floor, shoot the things in front of you.
Yeah,
I mean, there's not much more to say about it, honestly.
No, it's yeah, the game everybody knows, but a little bit toned down because it's Game Boy, of course. Like I said a million times before, on our episode about Solar Striker and also the light that came after it about just general shmups on Game Boy. Game Boy offers a really good platform to start playing shoot 'em up games
Yes.
because they're pretty easy to get into and get through, and it really makes you familiar with all the mechanics that shmups offer, so you can move on to NES or to TurboGrafx or whatever, or actual the arcade games, of course. Those are the toughest ones. But yeah, this is another one of those baby shmups. Tougher than Solar Striker, in my opinion. But for some, it's the other way around, so it kind of depends. Yeah, like this is a horizontal one. And wait, is it vertical? Wait.
It's horizontal.
No, this is horizontal, and Solar Striker
was vertical. Yep.
Yeah, so it kind of depends on what you're used to. So yeah,
I personally find vertical shoot 'em ups a lot harder than horizontal ones. Like I found Solar Striker to be a little bit harder than Nemesis. Sorry, and I find Pop and Twin Bee to be kind of hard as well.
That's a hard one.
Just because of the vertical scrolling, it's really hard for me to react with something coming from the top of the screen versus the side of the screen, because my eyes naturally progress to the right when I'm playing a game like that, not to the top of the screen. So
yeah. But yeah, again, a shmup in Tiny 10. I like to put these in. I think they're really fun to do. Oh.
And for those of you that say you can't speedrun a shmup, you're lying, because there's a leaderboard for this game. There's any percent in level 2 difficulty. There's not a level 1 difficulty. I'm assuming any percent is level 1.
Any percent is level 1. Yeah.
Okay. So we got Cratester. He's a Swede. Go figure. All the Swedish people speedrun.
Yeah, it's a national sport.
It really is. It's gonna be an Olympics here pretty soon. 15 minutes and 9 seconds, and then we have Retro Omega, who's been around for a while, at 16 minutes flat. So fairly short game.
Yeah, definitely. It's six stages, I believe.
Yeah, it is longer than Solar Striker, but
yeah.
It's still a fun game. I think most of the shmups on Game Boy are fun, and I don't even like shmups. So
yeah, yeah, there are tougher ones for sure.
Oh yeah,
there's some really tough ones out there.
Oh man. Then next, this is probably the game. I don't know. I would be more scared of this game than any other game on the list. And that is Batman Return of the Joker. Goal beat the game on easy difficulty.
Yeah, this is one of Sunsoft's greatest, but it's actually not that great.
It's hard. Easy difficulty is hard.
Yeah, and that's just baby steps compared to the other difficulties for sure. I'm not sure if it resembles the NES counterpart. I have never played that game. But yeah, this is one of my favorite games ever since I was a kid for sure. I love this game, but it's not an easy one. Easy difficulty makes it easier for sure, because there are stage hazards that just don't do anything on easy mode. Otherwise, you take damage from them. For example, one of the stages is in sewer level, and when the water rises, it doesn't do anything on easy mode, but on higher difficulties, it actually hurts you, so you have to wait as well, so it makes it, slower. Another thing to note about this game is you have 3 lives. That's it. You have 3 lives. No, there's no 1-ups anywhere. There's no continues. The only thing that you can get are health upgrades. There's 3 to be found in the stages, and there's 4 stages, by the way. So you go from 5 hits to 8, which definitely helps a lot. For the speedrun, you only pick up 1 because it's on the way through a stage, and it's in the final stage. You can choose which stage you begin with out of the first 3. The 4th one is always locked behind those, which is the Joker stage. So yeah, only 4 levels sounds easy enough, definitely. Yeah. The problem is this is a very, very, very technical game. You have no idea how technical this game is. It uses a grappling mechanic, which you use by pressing the up button. Only the up button. Pressing anything besides the up button, will not make it happen, and using that thing is very pertinent to fast travel through stages because you can basically cling onto the ceiling and skip parts of the stage. So that's going to be the main thing you have to learn for this game. Of course, you can take it a little bit more slower, you can get those extra health upgrades in the other worlds, make it a little bit easier, but getting through the levels is what the hard part is about this game. All the bosses can easily be taken down by just spam attacking them until they're gone. So that's the easy part. It's just getting to know how to grapple, and how the wall jumping works and things like that. That is what's really hard about this game.
Yeah, I would say if you've played Batman for the NES and you have to wall jump that game, you're forced to, especially in later levels. It feels very similar to Batman NES.
Yeah, it's the same wall jump mechanic for sure.
Yeah,
completely the same.
My biggest issue with this game is once you collect a weapon, you have to use it.
Yeah.
I wish you had an option to go back to your fists. I do wish that upon the game. The first time I played this game was during the reveal as well, so I don't have a full idea of what this game offers or anything of the sort at all. Just based off of the 8-10 minutes I played of the game. This is why I wished, but the speed run times of this game are quite deceptive.
Yeah.
So I am expecting our runners of the Tiny Tent to complete the game in about 15 minutes. Probably Mo is as well.
Yeah, I think I put 15 minutes as an estimate. I know that I can finish the game on easy mode in about 12 minutes, but I also have been playing this since I was a kid, so I know how it works. But if you look at the time for the actual speed run, however...
Yeah, we got Chaup? I'm calling him Chaup. He has a time he's the world record holder for easy at 4 minutes and 59 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
That's fast.
Yeah, makes it really sound like it's an easy speedrun, huh?
It really does. It legit does. I'm looking at hard. Hard is 5 minutes. Normal is 5 minutes. Easy is pretty much 5 minutes. Yep. You look at it I'm not learning a new speed game. Oh, this game's only 5 minutes long. How hard could it be? It is going to be the hardest 5 minutes of your life, let me tell you what.
Yeah, I would compare it to another Sunsoft game, I think, Gimmick, which is pure tech. It's crazy to play that game fast, and this one is easier in that regards, maybe, but it's tough. It's tough. If you want under 10 minutes time, you're gonna have to work hard on it.
Yeah, you definitely don't have to ride any stars or balls or whatever it is, but you definitely need to understand how the grappling hook works. Hard game. This is, I would say, out of all of them to be scared of, this would be number 2 on the list to be scared of, in my opinion.
Yeah, especially because there's no continues. That is one of the hardest things, but the good thing is, of course, it's really short, so... Even if you game over and you can pick it up back really fast and you can get through it fast, but yeah, you have to put time into this because otherwise you're going to be stuck on this for a very, very long time. Yep.
Yeah. Next game though, Quirk, number 9.
Yeah, a little break in between.
This was a matter of time. I've been wanting Quirk in the Tiny Tent for a while.
Yeah, I put this in because, of course, we always have to put a puzzle game in. I hadn't put it in another Tiny Tent because of how short this goal actually is. Because it's, 2 minutes?
No, 2 or 3 minutes.
Yeah, two or 3 minutes, and that's why I never put it in, really. But this one needed a really easy game in between because some of these are actually hard. So it's nice that this is here before the finale of this list.
I like to think on the box art, you get that strawberry in the background there. Yeah. I like to think that Quirk is throwing her the finger, just walking away from her. But he's not. He has the index finger up. I just
Yeah.
in my head, I'm just like, man, he's throwing her the finger. Don't even care.
Yeah, then again, he only has 4 fingers, so it could be his middle finger. Could be.
All right. I can live with it. Yeah, no. The goal is going up easy difficulty. There's only 10 maps. 16. Yeah, 10
puzzles.
maps. Yeah. The biggest tips and trick here is literally memorizing the maps and optimizing your movement. So with these types of games is you have a choice between bird's eye view and diagonal. Pick bird's eye view. Diagonal sucks. With this game, I used to have world record in Amazing Tater, which is the sequel to Quirk. The biggest things to save time on, outside of knowing the puzzles, is your movement. With these games, the hitboxes you can actually clip into corners and walls very easily and stall your movement, which doesn't sound like a terrible thing, but the world record for Quirk going up easy is 1 minute 57 seconds and 967 milliseconds.
Yeah.
When you get clipped into a wall and you stop moving, you lose like 0.05 milliseconds, which doesn't seem like a lot, but if you're trying to contend for world record, that's a lot in this game. Understanding your movement, understanding what calls a wall clip, what causes a corner clip is a very big deal. Throughout Quirk, I think starting on map 6, you can get a little friend that you got to press select for. Some of the maps require 2 characters to complete, just because of the nature of the map itself, and you have to make sure both characters go to the finish line. So again, that adds another level of another layer of accuracy and optimization as well, if you're wanting to contend for like a top 10 time. Otherwise, like I have a 2 minute and 4 second time in this game, and I'm not even top 10. But otherwise, like I expect people to be done with this game in about 2 or 3 minutes. Honestly,
Yeah,
if they practice. Going into it blind, 10 minutes.
Yeah, it's pretty simple, and for the people who learn the game, they're always the same puzzle, so it's not random or anything. So once you know how to do the puzzle, you know it, and you just have to make sure you do the movement correctly, and that's it.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Just memorize the puzzles, and you're good to go. All right, and game number 10. This is the game I'm the most scared of in the list, or at least I would be if I was running. And that is the Punisher.
I would not be anymore because I've played it so much now, but
that's fair.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Punisher Ultimate Payback.
Featuring Spider-Man.
Featuring Spider-Man that you only see in stage 1.
Yep.
Beat the game. Unlimited lives code is not allowed. And yes, there is an unlimited lives code. Biggest tips and trick here is learn where your extra lives and the health packs are throughout the stage. But this is a very unique game that you chose for the Tiny 10.
Yeah, the moment I played this game, I was like, wow, this is actually really cool to see on Game Boy. It's like the NES one. I think that one is also a rail shooter, if I remember correctly. But yeah, this is a rail shooter on Game Boy, and there's only 2 games on Game Boy that are rail shooters. This and Terminator 2, the arcade game. The second one is definitely of a lesser quality. Both, as far as I know, are LGN games, of course. But yeah, I love this game. I think it's a great time. It's very short, but it's very unforgiving as well because, well, it is a rail shooter, so... And there's no, unlike Time Crisis where you can duck behind crates and things like that. This is literally, whenever somebody is shooting on the screen, you are getting hurt.
Yeah, the hard part is about that is, like, they're shooting, but you don't know you're getting hit because the screen doesn't flash or indicate that you're getting shot at all, except unless you look at your health bar and it
Hmm.
drops pretty quick. But
Yeah.
yeah, the game itself is like if you've played your rail shooter, an arcade shooter, or whatever else, you've played this game for the most part. Um, After every stage, there's like a boss fight, and the first boss, I don't know what it is. That first boss in the game just destroys me, just
Yeah.
wrecks me.
The only way that I figured out is like if you throw a grenade at the exact right time, before he basically comes across the screen walking very slowly and then turns to you and starts shooting. But if you throw a grenade right at the moment that he's uh, gonna change, he falls down and you can like plug him a few times and then he just leaves and comes back again. So you can do it without getting hurt, but it's definitely not easy. But I think the first boss and the second boss are the only ones where you can actually do that. The other three bosses, however, I don't think you can actually not get hurt at all. So it's yeah,
I don't know.
yeah. Like
Can
the
you?
third boss is the helicopter. Okay, yeah, you cannot get hurt, but you have to deal with constantly spawning enemies, which is a problem.
Can you
The
get hurt
fourth,
on the second boss?
nah, it's the boat. The only thing that can hurt you are the guys who are coming through the screen on forklifts. But
Oh
if you
right.
shoot them before they even notice you, it's no problem. And there's one part of the boat where enemies jump out of, but that only happens when that part is on the screen, and it's a boat, so it constantly goes from the left to right. But yeah, knowing where the extra lives are is definitely a must. Like items are hidden behind all kinds of um, how do you call it? I can't come up with the name now. Like the stage things. Like the first stage is a mall, so you shoot the windows of the shops, and there's items behind them. There's
Oh
trash
yeah.
cans. There's
Obstacles.
items behind them. So
Yeah.
it's always something like that. There are a lot of hidden items. There are the health packs, which are very useful, of course, to regain your health. Don't pick them up if you're not hurt. Just wait until you get hurt. Preferably you do not get hurt, of course, which is possible, but it's definitely hard. But yeah, it's best to pick them up if you're low on health, of course. You have clips for your machine gun. You have an actual machine gun you have to pick up as well. If you run out of clips, you have to mash to shoot because otherwise your gun will shoot very slowly with the automatic setting it has. There's one-ups hidden everywhere. There's definitely enough to last through the game. You cannot get more than 9 lives, but you're probably never gonna reach that anyway, so don't really worry about that. But if you get 9 lives before stage 4 starts, you should be fine for the rest of the game for sure. There is also one thing I found in the second stage, which was a like you can pick up grenades, which is your secondary weapon, but there is also an RPG you can find, which literally destroys everything. Like the second boss took 3 hits and the entire boat was gone. So I'm pretty sure there is one hidden in every stage, but I've only been able to locate that one. So definitely check out my video on the leaderboard that I made for it, which is basically just a playthrough. But yeah, if you can find more of those extra weapons, that might really prove useful for the bosses. The fourth boss is the one I do not understand how not to get hit. He's hiding in some kind of pond. There's constantly guys spawning from inside of a cave you have to deal with. I think it's timed when he pops up, but yeah, the moment he pops up, he starts shooting with his what is it called? A railgun? No, not a railgun. Like a what's the thing that it's like a machine gun but with 7 barrels and it turns around
A
like
Gatling gun.
Gatling gun. There we go. He has that thing, so he's really hard to deal with. And another tip is do not shoot the ducks in the pond. You will lose an extra life actually. Sometimes there's a guy hidden beneath them, but just do not shoot it until you see it popping up out of the water, and then it's actually an enemy and you can shoot it. But yeah, that's pretty much it. In the first stage, you also have to deal with people who are running in the mall. Do not shoot them; you will lose life, of course. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, you have the record in this game.
Yeah, and it can be improved with at least a minute because I'm really bad at the boss fights, so
You have a time of 15 minutes and 12 seconds.
yeah, I
Literally
can definitely
unbeatable.
see. Yeah, no, I can definitely see like a 13, a low 13. I feel like it is possible. Another tip maybe for the last boss, you see items lying on the ground. Those are actually his weapons. One of them is a rocket launcher, which deals major damage to you, and what you have to do is like shoot it so he cannot pick it up. And as long as he's going after that thing, he doesn't shoot you either. So you can like shoot that thing around the stage and he's just following it, and then you can shoot him and you should be fine. So but yeah, if you get there with 5 lives or even 4 lives, shouldn't be a problem to beat him at all.
Yeah, he should be good. Yeah, this is the game, in my opinion, this is the game to be scared of. Especially blind.
Yeah, that's also the reason why it's a last game. Okay, it doesn't have continues just like Batman, Return of the Joker, but this is a rail shooter, so it's pretty much an auto-scroller. It
Yeah.
takes a lot longer than Batman to get back to where you were. So,
Yeah. Yeah, I would say like in order of like scared / difficulty, like it would be for me like Punisher number 1, Batman number 2, Roger Rabbit number 3.
Yeah.
Like that's how I'd rank. Then the rest is kind of like just fall into place. Like I find the rest to be fairly easy.
Yeah. This is definitely not the easiest list we ever had.
No.
But it's definitely the most varied list. Like there's puzzle games, there's shoot 'em ups, there's platformers, it's
This is a
really cool.
mixed bag, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, there you go. 10 games. The Punisher is number 10. Just go over them quick again. Little India in the City in 1, Mole Mania 2, Titus the Fox 3, Mega Man 3 number 4, Who Framed Roger Rabbit number 5, Magical Talu Luto Kun, there you go, number 6, Nemesis number 7, Batman Return of the Joker number 8, Quirk number 9, and The Punisher Ultimate Payback number 10.
Yeah. And just like always, the the world records combined together are sub 2 hours. Yep. So it's always doable if you put in enough practice.
Have we had a sub 2 hour Tiny 10 run?
I think Atros might have done one of those.
Of course
yeah.
He did. He's fired.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, we're going to take another quick short break here. When we come back, we're going to talk about some more community events. Or I guess continue our community event discussion and talk about more to come with GBrunners and us. Stay tuned. Alright, and welcome back everybody. So we have a lot of community events coming up here. It's getting to be that season.
Yep. Spring is in the air. And which everybody is
6 million marathons a weekend now.
Yeah.
Alright, so first and foremost we have RGL's Tiny 10 Remix number 2, which will be happening as this episode is released. So if you are listening to this episode and the Tiny 10 Remix 2 is on, hop over to twitch.tv/RetroGamingLiveTV to go watch everyone running in said marathon.
And including me. So
including Mo.
Yeah, I will not be on the screen a lot of the times because I put zero practice into this. Yeah, like I said just before we started the podcast, I was streaming it and it took me... Yeah, I barely broke 3 hours, so I don't think I'll be placing very highly this time. Last time I was top 3, third, yeah, so I don't think that will happen. If it happens, though, I will be very disappointed at everybody, so just letting you know.
Legs will probably be running in this as well.
Yeah, Infinite Mystery, Gran and Hero. I think Atros is even running. There's a few other people. I think. No, she couldn't make it after. Yeah, I don't know. There will be people for sure.
I'm not running in this.
Yeah.
I might commentate if they want me to / need me to, but I'm not. I don't play video games anymore, so I just type in spreadsheets now. And then we have Speedy Fists, April 12th to the 14th. That's coming up fairly quick, couple weeks. I will be in Speedy Fists with Shaq Fu Game Boy. There's a Shaq Fu block for Speedy Fists.
Yeah,
it is it's like almost closing on the final day. It is fantastic. It starts with the Genesis version, goes to the Super Nintendo version, then goes to the Game Boy version. It is going to be it's probably the best speedrun block of any marathon that's ever happened, to be fair.
Yeah.
We have Pixels for Peace, which is I believe Mannix helps admin this one. Mannix is a Game Boy Mega Man runner.
Yep.
And that is going on at the same time as Speedy Fist, April 12th to the 14th as well. They're having a Kirby's Dream Land race apparently on like the Saturday for that. So they reached out for me to commentate, so I'll be commentating that as well. So if you like hear my voice, get to hear that again. Hopefully it'll be clearer than what's in this episode. Let's see here. I'm trying to go in order here. My notes are all over the place. Oh, then we have RGL's Retrothon, April 21st to the 28th. I have Fist of the North Star Game Boy.
Yep.
Somehow got it in. And Titus the Fox hard mode in this as well. Pushing forward, we have RPG Limit Break, May 5th to the 11th. I put RPG Limit Break in because there are a few handheld games in there. There's a couple Game Boy Color, a couple Game Boy Advance, decent amount of PSP. So definitely go check them out and give them some love. It's probably one of my favorite marathons in the year to begin with, because I love RPGs. Then obviously we have Tiny 10 number 9, May 25th at 1 p.m. Eastern. So you definitely want to check that out.
Yeah.
Not biased at all on that.
No. Not at all.
Then we have Summer Games Done Quick 2019, which will get a game list here in 4 days. No. Game list will be out by the time this episode comes out, so we'll get to see if yours truly gets to play Shaq Fu at Summer Games Done Quick.
Yeah, if there will be any Game Boy games.
Yeah, that's true.
That are not Kirby or Pokemon.
Could you imagine if Shaq Fu was the only Game Boy game? Oh my god.
Well,
what a day that would be.
After Dragon Slayer, I would not even doubt that
could
happen.
Oh my god. Dude, I have a dream now. I have two dreams. Shaq Fu for opener and Shaq Fu the only Game Boy game at GDQ. All right. And then we have Handheld Heroes. Did you put that in?
I put that in.
Okay,
yeah.
So I don't remember putting Handheld Heroes in. Handheld Heroes, July 12th through July 14th. Submissions will be opening here next week when this episode comes out. So, first week of April. Stay tuned on Twitter, Discord, everything else. I'll be posting because I'm an admin for Handheld Heroes. So I'll be adamant on promoting and marketing and whatnot. So keep an eye out on that. It's a good time. It's a weekend of nothing but handheld systems. So it's a good time. I'm going to learn Shaq Fu on Game Gear for it. So
it just never stops with the Shaq Fu.
Just wait till I get an Amiga, man. No one's ran Shaq Fu Game Gear. It's a free world record.
Yeah.
What better title than be world record holder of Shaq Fu?
I can think of plenty, but yeah,
I can't
sure.
even keep a straight face with saying that. Oh boy. So we had a viewer question. This question comes up quite a bit, Mo.
It's one of those questions. When is said game for Tiny 10? And the latest one, of course, is when is Mulan? Yeah, everybody knows how I think about that game. I think it's one of the worst games that ever existed.
I've played worse.
So, yeah, I absolutely hate that game, but I did say something, so we're gonna see if it happens. But it was Slash Infinity or Dead Infinity. I'm just calling him Slash. So I made a promise that if on the leaderboard of Mulan Game Boy, before the list gets made, well, before the list comes out for Tiny 1010, if 10 people can get a sub 10 time on the leaderboard before that, I'll put it in.
Sub 10?
Sub 10.
Do I have a sub 10?
No, you do
What?
not.
How do I not have a sub 10? I have a 958.
Oh, maybe you
How
got up
dare
to 10.
you?
Last time it did not have a sub 10. But yeah, if 10 people actually get sub 10 on Mulan, I'll put it in Tiny 1010. Otherwise, it's never gonna happen.
So you're saying I should make 7 speedrun.com accounts
No.
and 7 YouTube accounts?
That will not count.
You won't know it's me. It'll be one of those like, oh, the person didn't talk, whatever. It's just recorded through Amric, yeah. You'll never know. Maybe I'll run it on eBloodyCandy's account. What do you say about that?
It got tweeted out. I'll see what happens. I don't think much is gonna happen.
We have 3 people under 10 minutes, by the way.
Yeah, so
out of 4.
So there's 7 more to go.
There is a hard difficulty, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Oh my god, what's Alien 3?
That I don't know. That is not a question of I don't want to put it in. It's just how do I put this game in the title?
Full game, beat the game.
Yeah.
If you go in blind, you know what? You play for 10 hours. That's your fault.
Yeah.
Figure out what the knife does.
Yeah, that's another unanswered question in the Game Boy.
It doesn't even say in the manual.
Yeah. What does the knife do? It must do something, but
what a piece of garbage. I mean, it's better than Pocahontas for the Game Boy, so whatever.
For sure.
Oh man, wow! There's a lot of just events happening, and then after like July is done, like there's just another plethora of things. Oh god, it's just never ending.
It will not stop for quite a while now.
Just never ending.
No,
man. Someday. Thoughts and suggestions by the audience. So yeah, if you guys have any feedback for us, thoughts, if you guys want to give us praise, like we'll take that even. We have a Discord. You can comment on SoundCloud. Like I'm on SoundCloud most days, just listening to whatever. We have Twitch channels. There we go, Twitch channels. Pop in, say hi, like, hey, I listened to the podcast. Cool episode. Your partner Belfix sounded like trash, but you sounded great, Moan. It's so So I mean, like, hop in, say hi, do whatever. We are always receptive to feedback though. Outside of this episode, because I apparently messed up my microphone settings in Audacity. We are, give us feedback on what you think could make the podcast better. Make each episode better. We're always looking to strive and be better, no matter what. So as long as it's within reason.
Yeah.
Don't be like, you guys should just buy a studio and set this up. No, listen. All right. I have apparently 3 microphones plugged into my computer, and my computer doesn't know which is which. All right, you think we're gonna run a studio here?
Yeah. Plus, how would we even get to that studio? Like, one of us would have to make a trip constantly to that studio. So we would also have to have money to actually move to that place. So yeah.
We clearly just find the halfway point and built a
Yeah.
dome in the ocean.
Yeah.
God. Um, so yeah, with all that information, again, you can find it on gbrunners.com/TIGB. On that is mine, Mo's, and Legs' YouTube, Twitch, Discord. You can find the This Is Game Boy Discord, Patreon, YouTube channel, ? SoundCloud for sure.
Yeah, we have a YouTube, so I might have linked it there already, because of course it's YouTube/MZ1BHA whatever.
ID.
So yeah, we need subscribers or followers, or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
Yeah, so before we can change that, so feel free to just drop one. There's nothing on it, but you can. Well,
Yeah,
maybe our live recording is. Oh no, that's on the Monochrome City one actually.
But
yeah, whatever.
I know Legs is talking about putting our podcast on YouTube.
Yeah, it should be almost ready, and then they will be on YouTube as well. So, yeah.
But again, it's work and time that we don't.
Yeah.
All right, so yeah, the next time you hear from Mo and I again, we're gonna be talking about Knight's Quest. You mentioned Knight's Quest earlier.
I sure did.
Oh,
so
it's gonna be so good.
Actually, not Night Quest. Just making that clear. It's Night Quest and not Knight's Quest. Which is weird because Knight's Quest sounds better, but yeah, I don't know.
Maybe they just don't know. Maybe they don't know English.
Yeah.
Came out in America. Whatever. We'll talk about it in 2 weeks.
Yeah. No,
4
in
weeks.
a month actually.
Oh my god.
Yeah, because my light is in between, which will be about Irem games.
I love Irem
probably
games.
my favorite developer/producer for Game Boy games.
Hammer and Harry, best Irem game.
Yeah, definitely, probably. You'll hear all about it next time.
All right, everyone. See you later. I guess. Goodbye. Yeah, there we go. Goodbye. And the final game.
Yeah, wait a second, because my cat is scratching my door. Soon I don't have a door anymore.